Today, we will be learning about transport system and processes in plants and the photosynthesis. My name is Ray Valencia. Here are the objectives of this lesson: to describe how water and nutrients enter and pass through a plant, and to understand the relationship between light and photosynthesis. The vocabulary words you can read after me: vascular plants, phloem, transpiration, osmosis, photosynthesis, chloroplast, xylem, stomata, stoma, non-vascular plants, chlorophyll, glucose. All right. Plants need water. Plants can be divided into two groups: vascular and non-vascular plants. Vascular plants have two types for the transportation of substances by using two different types of transport tissue, and these are xylem and phloem. Vascular plants have tissue that conducts water and food. Xylem tubes or vessels conduct water and solutions from the roots to the leaves, while phloem tubes conduct food from the leaves to the rest of the plant. This is the structure of the stem and the root. This is the structure of vascular plants, phloem, and xylem. During the daytime, water vapor from plants evaporates through stomata. Stomata are small openings or pores which are present on the aerial part of the plants like leaves, stem, flowers, etc. This is how it looks like when you use the microscope to see the stomata. But the leaves constitute major portion of stomata. This process is called transpiration. All right. Stomata opens during the daytime to exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen. The stomata close during the nighttime to reduce water evaporation. Stomata are found mostly on the underside of the plant leaf. The stoma opens during the daytime. Yes, like what you see in the picture, the stomata opening and closing. All right. So when it opens, it absorbs the carbon dioxide and oxygen, and during nighttime, it reduces the water evaporation. Water absorbed by roots, and then water travels up through plant, and then water vapor lost from leaf pores in transpiration. Because the transport process in vascular plants starts when the roots absorb water from soil. The water is transported through the xylem up to the stem to the leaves. Transpiration results in more water being taken up from the roots. Remember, water moves by osmosis from root cell to the root cell until it reaches by the xylem. Let's see this water transport in plants video.
Transportation in plants. At the end of this session, you will be able to know the function of xylem and phloem cells, and explain transportation in plants. All plants need water. Plant roots absorb water and minerals from the soil. Water absorption is mainly carried out by root hairs. These narrow-walled hairs greatly increase the area over which water absorption can take place. Water and minerals enter the root by two pathways: apoplastic pathway and symplastic pathway. If water and minerals move from cell to cell through spaces between the cell walls, then it is known as apoplastic pathway. In symplastic pathway, the water and minerals move across the cytoplasm and finally reaches the xylem. Xylem vessels are long, narrow, hollow tubes containing no living material. The xylem transports water and soluble mineral nutrients from the roots to other parts of a plant. About 95% of the water absorbed is lost through the stomata present in the leaves. This process is known as transpiration. The number of stomata is more on the lower surface of leaves. If transpiration happens throughout the day, then there will be a great loss of water. This is controlled by the stomatal opening and closing mechanism. During the daytime, water enters into the guard cells along with the potassium ions. This brings about a change in the shape of the guard cells, and the stoma opens. During the night, the potassium ions and water molecules leave the guard cells. Thus, the turgidity decreases and the stoma closes. Stomata also act as main sites of gaseous exchange in plants. Leaves make use of water and the carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. Glucose formed during photosynthesis is transported to the other parts of the body through phloem cells. Phloem tissue consists of less specialized and nucleate parenchyma cells, sieve tube cells, and companion cells. Transport of food in phloem can be up or down the stem to reach all parts of the plant. Hence, the transportation in plants is the function of xylem and phloem cells.
Moving on, plants that have no vascular tissue for transporting water and food are called non-vascular plants. Some plants, such as mosses and algae, do not have vascular tissues and therefore they cannot grow tall. These are the example of algae and mosses under the non-vascular plants. These plants have no xylem and phloem. That's why some include like red algae, brown algae, green algae, mosses, and liverworts. These plants are called non-vascular plants. They are low-growing. They have thin cell walls, and they do not have roots for absorbing water from the grounds. They only receive water and minerals from their surrounding through osmosis. And here are the sample of red algae, brown algae, and liverworts. Photosynthesis. This is the example of photosynthesis. It is a process of making food in plants. An organism that makes its own food is a producer. Green plants are the producers. Carbon dioxide from air enters the leaves through the stomata. The photosynthesis process, it starts when chlorophyll, a green pigment in chloroplast, captures energy from the sunlight. As you can see in the picture, the light or the sun, all right, the light energy is used to break water or H2O and oxygen gas or O2 and hydrogen H. The photosynthesis process, the carbon dioxide had combines with hydrogen to make glucose. Oxygen gas is given off but as a byproduct. Glucose is a kind of simple sugar. The process of photosynthesis that leads to the production of glucose can be summed up by this equation. All right, so you can see this equation. We have this carbon dioxide plus the hydrogen to make glucose, and then plus the oxygen with the light within. And then it can create a simple sugar. All right. Glucose moves around the plant through the phloem tubes. Plant cells use some of the sugar for food. The glucose is also transformed other compounds such as more complex sugars and starches for later use, and cellulose for plants' growth. These are the example of carbohydrates plants. We have the sweet potatoes, we have the rice, and the corn. Sugar plants example is the sugar cane. All right. Let's watch this photosynthesis process video.
The amazing process of photosynthesis. A look around at nature is an absolute treat to our senses. We all enjoy the colors and fragrance of plants, but seem to forget about their important contribution. Plants are an absolute necessity for life on Earth. It is so because of the process of photosynthesis. A closer look at a plant shows that it is firmly held in the soil by the help of roots. These roots absorb water from the soil and through the tiny tubes transport it to the stem and then to the leaves. The stem holds the leaves in such a way that they absorb maximum energy from sunlight. A leaf is a very important part of the plant. Photosynthesis, the ultimate provider of food and oxygen, occurs in the leaf. A leaf consists of a flat, thin lamina, which is joined to the stem by a petiole. The flattened lamina provides large surface area for trapping sunlight. A cross-section of the leaf shows the upper and lower layers of cells, which are flat and irregular. Below the upper layer is the layer of tightly packed cells. These cells have specialized organelles called chloroplasts. Chloroplasts contain the pigment chlorophyll, which gives the green color to the leaf. The next layer has loosely arranged cells with large air spaces. The section also shows tubes specific for transporting the absorbed water into the leaves. The lower layer has many pores called stomata. Each stoma is surrounded by two guard cells, which regulate opening and closing of the stomata. A leaf absorbs carbon dioxide from the environment through these stomata, which after passing through air spaces, enter into the chlorophyll-containing cells. Both water and carbon dioxide molecules are finally absorbed by the chloroplast. These chloroplasts also have the capacity for trapping energy from sunlight. And this energy is used to synthesize glucose and oxygen from carbon dioxide and water. These oxygen and glucose molecules diffuse out of the chloroplast. The glucose is transported through other specialized tubes to all parts of the plant, aiding in their growth. The oxygen present in these air spaces diffuses out through the stomata. So, during photosynthesis, oxygen is given as the life-sustaining gaseous component of the atmosphere, while glucose or food is transported to all parts of the plant and used for growth. To summarize, green plants can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. Plants are held in the soil with the help of roots. These roots absorb water and send it to the leaves through specialized tubes. The lower layer has many pores called stomata. A leaf absorbs carbon dioxide from the environment through these stomata. Both water and carbon dioxide molecules are finally absorbed by the chloroplast. Where in the presence of chlorophyll and sunlight, they synthesize glucose and release oxygen. The oxygen diffuses out through the stomata. The glucose is transported through other specialized tubes to all parts of the plant, aiding in their growth.
Now, you just have watched the photosynthesis process video. Now, let's move on with our activity. Answer the following questions. Number 1, what happened next after plants produce glucose? 2, what kind of sugar do plants produce in photosynthesis? 3, how do plants make starches and cellulose? And 4, draw the process of photosynthesis. The same thing, do this one on your notebook or paper and send it to the group chat. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Hope to see you again in our next video lesson. Bye-bye.